Om Jana Timiranja Jana Jana Shulakya Chakshu Ominita Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna. So today, as usual, we are taking the reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 3, verse 3, titled Karma Yoga. Hare Krishna. Are we all there now? Chapter 3, text 3, titled Karma Yoga. Haribo. Nice to see you, bro. Yeah. So we quickly run through this sloka. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmi Devi Videhi Lokesmi Devi Vidnishta Pura Bhakta Mayanha Jnana Yogena Sankhya Kama Yogena Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Yeah, that is the title is Karma Yoga. So somebody wants to try? Okay, can go ahead. Okay, Hare Krishna. We go through the translation. The Supreme Personality of God has said, O sinless Arjuna, right? I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Purport. In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga. In this verse, the Lord explained the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga, or the analytic study of the nature of spirit and matter, is the subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. The other class of men work in Krishna consciousness. As it is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter, the Lord has explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principle of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bounds of action. And furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse, that this Buddhi Yoga is to depend entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. Therefore, Buddhi Yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment, and sometimes fanaticism. Well, philosophy without religion is mental speculation. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. This is also stated in Bhagavad-Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The indirect process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. And the other process is direct, connecting everything with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. Of the two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process, and by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. Hare Krishna. This particular text is very sweet. Why is it very sweet? Because here we are seeing the superiority of bhakti over karma and jnana. So I will, for have a proper coherence on this chapter, we'll go through the previous chapter which is being mentioned here to have a better understanding of analytic study. Analytic, in one sense, is a philosophical term, because my first degree was in philosophy, so I know all these things. Philosophy, analytic, empiricism, they are all philosophical terms. Empiricism deals with the senses, how you can use the senses to deduct something. Then analytic, it tells you how you can analyze things. There were a set of Western philosophers. The famous of them were Wittgenstein. He talks about analytic. One of his aphorisms is that what happens, one of his affirm means claim. He said, what happens when language is out of existence? That was his aphorism. Aphorism means that his claim. When language is not in existence, what happens to man? So he's part of his analytic procedure. So in one sense, this set of philosophers, they were called Venier circle. That is inner circle. They have a fantastic philosophy. But their major problem is that there is no source behind their speculation. Just like the Vedic procedures, you have check and balance. You have Shastra, you have Guru, then you have what? Sadhus. So in Western philosophy, this is missing. That is where you have vacuum. So most of their thought is all speculation. But they have fantastic grounds. Especially these, Venier circle, analytic philosophers. One of their cardinal points is that don't accept anything without first of all analyzing it. When you analyze it, then you verify it. If that thing is being verifiable, then you accept it. If you analyze it and you cannot verify it, don't accept it. But there are many things we can actually not verify. We can analyze many things, but we cannot verify everything. I can give an example. How do you verify the finger that grows every day? How do you verify the finger that grows every day? But this is just on one side, trying to tell you some of their faults, the fault of these philosophers. So for this test, let us go back to chapter 2 and take some of the view why Krishna is repeating this particular text again, for us to see the importance of bhakti. Bhakti is something that could enhance karma and gyan. Karma and gyan, they cannot provide fruits without bhakti. Although they are principles, karma, gyan, they are principles. But on their own, they cannot give you love of God because of the attached contamination. So we will go to chapter 2. It is mentioned here, chapter 2, the first, let me see here. We take, first of all, we quickly look at text, chapter 2, text 29 first, yeah. Chapter 2, text 29. Where Krishna is explaining. Okay, you see there? Some look, he said, some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And some hear of him as amazing. While others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand. Why is it they cannot understand? This is gyan. Analytic means gyan. Without bhakti, how can you understand? There must be bhakti. So bhakti enhance, the purity, it's like bhakti is the purity that enhance karma and gyan to come to the level where they can derive benefits. In other words, without bhakti, karma and gyan, they cannot provide substantial fruits. So if we go to 29, just still analytic. We there. 39. 39. There he giving. He said, thoughts. I have described this knowledge to you through analytic study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitful results, or without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of work. Now, it's talking about karma. How you work without inclination, don't put your interest in it. You work, you give, you surrender the results. By doing this, you develop some inclination for bhakti. So these two processes that is being mentioned here, we are going to reflect, the reason why these two processes cannot actually give love of Godhead, karma and gyan, based on some certain stories we have taken from different sources. One time in Bhagavad-Gita Upanishad, yeah. The senses were in agitation. This is from Bhagavad-Gita Upanishad. The senses were in agitation. Who is superior? Every one of them were saying, I'm superior, I'm superior, I'm superior. So they went to meet Brahma. So Brahma should prove who is actually superior, because the sight is saying that I'm superior. The vision is saying that I'm superior. The speech is saying that I'm superior. The hearing pro said I'm superior. So all claim I'm superior. So Brahma used analytic idea to explain who is actually superior among them. But when he explained this to these senses, sense organs, the way he ended it, they were not happy. So he said, respect that. Once he leaves the body becomes untouchable. So these were like unacceptable by other organs. We all think we are superiors, but our master is supposed to prove justice to our claim. He's saying that we should respect that organ, that once it leaves the body, then the body becomes untouchable. So, because it was not accepted by them, they decided to empiricalize it. Let us try with our sense, who is actually the superiors. This is where empirical comes in. You want to see with your sense, not hearing. Our process is to hear. But sometimes we want to experience it. Empiricism. You experience it with us, with the senses. So the senses of speech leave the body. After 1 year, he returned back to the body and he asked other senses, without my presence, how were you able to manage? They said, well, like, a dome. We were seeing, we were hearing, and also we were with our mind, like a dumb person. We were able to manage. So he could see that in spite of he were not there for 1 year, the body were being balanced. So he fit into himself. He fit to his position. So the organ of vision went out. After 1 year, he came back again. He came back again. So he asked, in my absence, what happened? How were you able to manage? He said, well, other senses is responding now. Just like somebody who is blind. But we can hear, we can perceive, and the mind we can also use to rationalize things. So he could understand that his going out does not mean anything, that the body was still intact. So he repositioned himself again. Then, the organ of, hearing, zoop out. So after 1 year, he resurfaced and he asked, how were you able to survive in my absence? So the rest organ respond by saying, well, just like a deaf person, we can see, we can perceive with our nose, and we can rationalize things with our thinking. So he could see that his position does not really matter. Then it was the turn to the turn of the mind, and the mind zoomed off. After 1 year, the mind resurfaced, and he asked, how was you able to maintain without my absence? I said, well, just like a child. A child cannot make a decision. But anyhow, we were guided by the eyes, the hearing, the nose, so things were. So it was the turn of the vital force, the prana. Vajrayana Upanishad said, like a ox that is being tied to a wound. When a horse is being tied to a wound, when that experienced horse is, when he pulls the wound, when he pulls the wound pull the ground also. It said when the prana, the chief prana, the vital force was to leave, the other senses, they could understand that that is, their position was really threatened. Because as soon as the vital force was to leave, the body was becoming lifeless. So instantly, with humility, they approach. You are the superior among us. Please don't leave. You are the superior among us. So they have come to that experience that we are not the superior. The vital force is actually the superior. So indeed, what we take in from this particular story is that karma and jnana, they cannot function without the bhakti being part of it. And Srila Prabhupada called the word devotional service. So without devotional service, attached to karma, gyan, it cannot function productively. So this is the point. So the other senses, they could understand. To comply with the vital force, they can achieve the goal. So now, we will look at the deficiency of karma and gyan. First of all, I want us to take your attention to karma. Parishit has a son. His name is, what's his name again? You remember his name? Jami, is it Jami Jagni? Jagna, something. I forgot. I will remember anyway. So after the death of Parishit, he was installed. Jamini Jaya, something. Jamini Jaya. I will remember. I have it somewhere. I cannot. So he was restored, to be the emperor of the whole world. So whenever he sits on his throne, a lot of glorification of his predecessors. How his father was like this, how his father was like this. So one time, Jamini Jaya, his name is Jamini Jaya. So he asked Vyasadeva. He said, I heard that when my father was caused, Parishit Maharaj, to be beaten by a snake, there was somebody who was a snake professor who knows how to control snake, take away the poison. And this person was coming to rescue my father. But somehow, something happened. Can you tell me that story? Yeah, because Vyasadeva was there with his own disciple, Vishwapayana. So Vishwapayana was Vyasadeva's disciple. So Vyasadeva asked Vishwapayana to speak. So Vishwapayana began to speak. He said it is true that he was going for Karmakanda. What is that? He heard that a snake is to bite Parishit Maharaj in 7 days' time. He said, well, if I am able to meet Parishit Maharaj, and eventually he got bitten by the snake, I will be able to remove the poison and bring him back to life. Then he can give me he can give me some gold and some other thing. This was his intention. This is the part of our karma. So when he was going, the snake bed Tatashka was also along. So the snake bed was very fast to understand that this particular person, his name is Kashyap, but different from Kashyapa Muni that is mentioned in Bhagavatam, who created a space for honeymoon, quite different. So he asked, where are you going? This snake bed take a form of a human being. It has this potence to change, to any particular form he likes. So he takes the form of a human being. So he was asking this, Kashyap, where are you going to? He said, well, I heard that a snake was to bite Parishit Maharaj, so I'm going there. When the snake eventually happen, when it's beating eventually happen, I will rescue the king, and after that the king can give me some resources. So the snake said, but nobody have ever been able to survive my poison. Nobody have ever been able to survive my poison. Why do you think you will be able to survive my poison? So this personality, Kashyap said, because I'm a professor of snake poison, I knows how to take away snake poison. So the Tathagata, okay, if you know how to take away poison, after having infected a particular thing with my poison, I'm going to infect this banyan tree. There was a big banyan tree. I will infect this banyan tree, and if you're able to revive the banyan tree, then what you are supposed to take from Parikshit Maharaj, I will give it back to you. I will give you. Then you can go back. Instead of going to Parikshit Maharaj, then you go back to where you come from. So instantly, the Tathagata, snake, it inflicts this big banyan tree. Automatically, the whole banyan tree was burned to ash. So he asked, okay, you revive this banyan tree to life. So he saw that Kashyapa recites some mantras. Automatically, the banyan tree revived. So he was shocked. How do they come to know this story? There was a person on top of the banyan tree who was cutting, cutting the branches for a house. So this person narrates the story. So, but the area we are concerned is the point that concerns the aspect of karma and kanda. He was going not for bhakti like the sages, but to collect, to give and take. Karma, gyan, they give out, they create expectation. Expectation fuels frustration, depression, anxiety. That is when there is no bhakti. So when there is bhakti, this principle is changed. When Duryodhana was born, there was a lot of different women from different directions. This Dhritarashtra become fearful. What is going on? What is going on? Instantly, he summoned Sanjaya, summoned other personalities. As soon as they arrived in his chamber, he said, I know very well that right from the birth of Yudhishthira, so many auspicious signs was there that he is the right, king on this throne. But I just want to have some faith, I just want to have some faith. I want to know, what is the faith of this my son, Duryodhana? So the intelligent minister began to speak, Sanjaya. He began to analyze the different women that was being had after the birth of Duryodhana. And all of these women, they were all inauspicious. So he advised this Dhritarashtra, as soon as you give up this son, the better for you. This Dhritarashtra shake. Expectation. All of this Dhritarashtra's thought was always based on expectation. And at the last, it was still expectation because before he was released by Vidura. So, karma and gyan, they are all covered with expectation. And this expectation, when it's not being fulfilled, there is always a problem for the living entity. Okay, we look at gyan. If you go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila thereon, you see the discussion between Sarvabhauma, Prakasananda, Saraswati. We see these are all areas of gyan. We see that in spite of their erudicy, but there was no bhakti. So by having interaction with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they develop interest for bhakti. So Gyan is like somebody having a lot of zeros. When you have a lot of zeros and there is no one, will it make sense? For instance, I enter a bank and I tell the teller, I need 000. He will look at me critically, and after some time he call the police. This guy has some same problem, right? But if I tell the teller that I need 100,000 or 100 crore, he understands, yes, maybe he has an account here. So Gyan, karma, they are all 0, 0. If bhakti is not, involved, they all depend on bhakti. But bhakti is not depend on karma, it's not depend on Gyan. This is the point. This is the area, this particular text is actually concerned with. And I have, and for us to have, more better understanding of it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to Sanat Goswami about the lost treasure, and he cited astrology. Astrologer was telling somebody that you are so poor because you forgot. Your father has so much wealth, but because your father died on time, you could not realize where those wealth is. This different aspect has some certain significance. But the point here, the Acharya described that karma and Gyan, they are like incense and ghosts. Gyan is like, poisonous incense, and karma is like ghosts. This is the commentary, Bhakti-siddhanta and Prabhupada giving in that particular section of Chaitanya Charitamrita regarding this conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanat Goswami. So, when there is not bhakti, karma, and Gyan, they haunt. So, bhakti actually helps to balance this principle of faith. Karma and Gyan, bhakti help to balance it. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying It said the whole process, okay, yeah, that the whole process is to understand the reposition of the self in relation to the higher self. So when bhakti is involved in karma, involved in Gyan, it will be easier for the self to realize the higher self. Without that, there is no purification, because bhakti purify karma, bhakti purify Gyan. This is the point here, and he draw it a little bit down. And the other process, okay, so the indirect process is philosophical speculation, but by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. The other process is direct, connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process. By the direct method of devotional service, by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. So why is this simultaneously easy and sublime? Somebody may ask, I sell bhakti. Yes, without bhakti, it is difficult to actually attain, for karma and gyan to give a substantial fruit. So why bhakti is so important? Rupa Goswami mentioned in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu characteristics of devotional service. And these characteristics, they are essential. The first one he mentioned is pure devotional service. It immediately relieves one. Just like we mentioned earlier, that the part of karma is like, a poisoned incense, while the part of gyan is like a ghost. So when this principle of faith get involved in bhakti, it relieves the anxiety, it relieves the expectation. The point is clear? So the second he mentioned, Rupa Goswami mentioned, is all auspicious. Devotional service is all auspicious. It take away all inauspicious in karma. It take away all inauspicious in gyan. Get the point? So the third point here is spiritual, transcendental. It's beyond the physical, the empirical, the analytic view. The analytic view, they are all on the surface, empirical. They are all on the surface, on the physical level. It's spiritual. The fourth, because it's spiritual, it's rarely achieved. You see, if, the path of bhakti is easily achieved, the whole world will be devotee. But you see, in spite of devotees, go to internet, you see all our ISKCON guru, they are preaching 24 hours. 24 hours, kata is going on. Right from the lockdown, all the sides, devotees are preaching. Yes, people are getting purified. And some are also saying, what is all these guys, doing? So because it's rarely achieved. So the fifth one, when one achieves bhakti, liberation is not considered meaningful. When one achieves bhakti, liberation is not considered meaningful. Devotee wants to pull more. He wants to pull more, wants to pull more. So the fifth one here, the sixth one, it attracts Krishna. Bhakti attracts Krishna. It is difficult for karma to attract Krishna. It is difficult for gyan to attract Krishna. Because in gyan, the ego, the ahankara is very high. In karma, the expectation is very high. From Mahabharata, we could see the Pandava, they attract Krishna because of their bhakti, because of their love for Krishna. The Kurava, what happened? That is the result was the other side. We can see just like we use the term, those whose mind were controlled, they were the Pandavas. Those whose mind were uncontrolled, they were the Kauravas. The Kauravas were able to control their mind. The Pandavas were able to control their mind because they dedicate all their duties for the pleasure of Krishna. While the Kauravas, they want to enjoy. Duryodhana is elite wants to enjoy. So this is the mentality that is found in both karma and gyan, which the devotee have to give up if for us to derive, the nectar of bhakti. Expectation, I should be the one enjoying mentality. So devotional service, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, closing the purpose, that the Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process. Why is it purifying process? In the morning we wake, we take our bath, then we begin to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. After that, we hear from the Holy Scriptures. Then below that, we take prasad. So this process is designed in a way that it connects us to that process that will take us back home, back to God earth. So we have the prerequisite to hold on to this thread which the Acharya has designed, Srila Prabhupada has given us. So if we hold tight to it, automatically we will get there. So in summary, because I have some class with some MBA students by 6:45, karma and gyan, they are faiths. They are principles on their own. But actually, they cannot achieve on their own bhakti. They depend on bhakti for them to be productive. Just like the story we announced, the senses has to work with the vital force, the prana, for them to achieve the goal. So the same apply. When, karma and gyan, like how, somebody may ask how. Like Krishna is mentioning in this purpose, the translation, and Prabhupada also mentioned it. For instance, if we walk, we do duty, we'll offer the result for Krishna. We get free from the reaction. And how does the gyan purifies? By using the intellect, understanding the scriptures and teaching. The last example I would quickly like to give before I finally went off. There was one great Pandit. This Pandit will recite so many wonderful Upanishads to his audience that the audience will ovate him. Oh, you are so wonderful, you are so wonderful. You are really erudite scholar. So every morning there used to be a milkmaid. This milkmaid come from the next village through the stream and bring milk for the Pandit. So one time the milkmaid was coming to bring milk for the Pandit, but there was no boat to cross the stream to where the Pandit is. So there was a little delay. So when the girl eventually arrived at Pandit ashram, the Pandit so much chastised her. Why do you so delay? Don't you know people respect me? This is the verge of gyan, ego. People respect me. You little milkmaid girl, you cannot come and bring me on time. So the girl was explaining, the young girl was explaining. I arrived at the stream on time, but the boat was not there to cross me over the stream. And the Pandit said, look at you. Those days people doesn't use boat to cross the stream. They just call the name of Hari Hari and they are off the stream. So The following day, the girl was to bring a milk for the pandit. She get to the stream. The boat was not there. So she remembered that the pandit have said, you can cross the stream just by calling the name of Hari Hari. So she began to meditate on Hari Hari, and she crossed the stream. She passed on top of the water just by meditating on Hari Hari Hari. So the pandit was shocked. She saw the girl with the milk on time. So she asked, why did you so arrive earlier than ever? He said, I took your word to heart. You said those days that people do not need boats. They just meditate on the word of the name of Hari, and they're off. So I did the same thing. He said, you sure? He said, yes. He said, I can teach you. So the pandit and the milk girl went to the stream, and she meditated on Hari Hari, and she passed through the water. She was at the other side. So he said, okay, pandit, you were the one who reminded me this principle. You also, pandit was on top of the water. He fell inside the water. So Gyan, without bhakti, it cannot yield fruits, because the ego is very high, ahankar. So when there is bhakti, the fruit is very sweet, right? So this is the last point I gave. Gyan can be productive if there is bhakti, and karma by dedicating the results, for the pleasure of Krishna. You walk without reservation. And that is one of the first definition of, pure bhakti given by Rupa Goswami. Bhakti is I2K, right? It's unmotivated. It's not something you do because you expect something. Or we see that when bhakti is not there, karma is expecting something, and gyan is, you should look at me, I'm the top man here. So with this, it cannot attract. It has to be purified. So Buddha yoga is mentioned. Once it's purified, then the intelligent will understand how to, use these particular principles, karma and gyan, in order to derive, bhakti. Okay? So this is the gamut we have here so far. So these two aspects, karma, they can be purified. It can be purified, and when it's been purified, it can be used, for attainment. But on their own, they cannot give a substantial result. Hare Krishna. So some questions? Yeah, bro.
I was just wondering on the same point, chapter 12.
Yeah.
Text 11.
Okay.
I was wondering if you can explain it, because
chapter
12, text 11.
Okay.
Krishna says at first, right, you should fix your mind on me without deviation.
Yeah.
He said if you can't do that, then perform sadhana.
Okay.
If you can't do that, then at least work for me. But then he said if you can't even do that, then try to act while giving up all results of your work.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like he's saying, like, you're not giving the results to Krishna directly, but just that idea of being detached from the results of your work. So the purport, Prabhupada says that somewhere, that if you do this, you give up the fruits of your activities, your mind becomes gradually purified.
Okay.
And from that purified stage, your mind will become able to understand Krishna consciousness. So it almost, can you explain that a little bit? It almost seems like it might be a little bit karma yoga a little bit, but without giving the results to Krishna. And Prabhupada says that you will gradually understand Krishna consciousness.
Very good. You see, this particular text mentioned purification. Srila Prabhupada mentioned purification. And if you go back to text, chapter 2, text 61, there is a clue there. Chapter 2, text 61, right? 261. Okay, yeah, I'm there. It said, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fix his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So the text you read, if you reverse the text again, I would tell you how it connects with this particular text. What actually you read that particular,
Text 11, Krishna says, if however you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated.
In this particular text, Krishna was giving Arjuna different options. If you can do this, you do this. If you can do this, you do that. But still at the end, he talks about, dovetailing all your activities for Krishna. Because when our activity is being dovetailed with Krishna, we get purification. When there is purification, there is bhakti. Whatever we do that is only for Krishna pleasure, attract Krishna to us. And that gives us a steady mind. It gives us the right buddhi, the right intelligence. So there are many options that Krishna is giving to Arjuna. Work for me, or do this for me, do that for me. But at the last part of this particular sloka, Krishna is saying that I consider this to be the best. He says there, I consider this to be the best. And that which Krishna considers to be the best, that you give it up for me. We cannot give up for Krishna if we don't have a purified consciousness. When the consciousness is not purified, then there is reservation. Reservation cannot attract purity. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, to extrapolate on this question, you're saying that you're saying if you can't give to Krishna, then give some good cause. And then Prabhupada writes, that is also recommended here because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually. In that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness.
Good.
And then also with the verse 3 that you read today, subscribing on jnana, an indirect path, eventually can lead to, a purified state of bhakti. But both in themselves don't do it. But the process of giving up the fruits and taking jnana seriously, then one gradually elevates
Absolutely.
to a higher mode of nature.
Absolutely.
Higher mode of nature.
Yeah.
And then from that higher mode of nature, our intelligence starts working properly.
Absolutely.
And then one can accept bhakti.
Yes.
Or is there something else?
Yeah. Exactly. You explain it. Exactly. So there have to be purification of consciousness. The mind have to be purified. Our activities have to. We get this purification by rendering this, rendering service without attachments. Surrounding all our duties, all our endeavor, just for Krishna's pleasure.
This transformation from straight jnana, to karma yoga and jnana yoga, the reason why it makes the shift is because through jnana and this process of karma, giving to some good cause, selflessly, then one gets into the world of goodness, and from that goodness is straight into, I think, somewhere with the intelligence. From there, one can then reason properly to take to bhakti, or is there some other shift from
reverse your question. What is your question? Reverse the question again. Reverse the question. Repeat your question.
How much time do you have?
No problem. Repeat your question. We can.
So you have, here it's stating, if you give to a good cause, you can't give to Krishna, it's stating you give to a good cause, you give up your fruit. It's some to the hospital, not Krishna conscious of it. And then Prabhupada's saying that you're going to get, by this process, you will purify the mind gradually. In that purified state of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, the point is clear now. When we give for the good cause, for instance, there is a charity work, philanthropic works, these are all, they are all like a shift.
But that itself doesn't bring bhakti.
No, it's a shift. It takes you gradually. It takes you like a shift. It takes you gradually to the verge where you give up the interest. Because whatever you do, for instance, a welder man, creating a well, there is some interest there. But that particular point when there is no more interest, you are not seeing yourself, but you are only seeing Krishna in it. That is when bhakti begins to develop.
That you need bhakti to do that, and then the material punya will not bring bhakti. It doesn't lead to bhakti. So all I can think of is the only way that makes you shift is we're getting more and more and more goodness. From the mode of goodness, our intelligence is becoming whatever these are intelligence.
One is already in the mode of goodness by doing some punya, by doing some charitable work, by doing some work. Because by being philanthropic, philanthropist, whatever, you're already in the mood of goodness. But the point is this, the point is this, is that although this goodness cannot give you bhakti, but it can help you. For instance, look at King Vena. You know the story of King Vena? Yeah, he did something, but he turns around. You understand? But because the tension there, he got Krishna's privilege. Right? He got Krishna because the intention. Krishna actually look at the intention. Because whatever we do in times of charitable work, Krishna sees the intention. Because from that intention, it's like a stage.
Being good, and as it's stated elsewhere, okay, be good, be totally good. And being good, gooder leads to the best good, which is Krishna consciousness. It would be like what you're saying, it's gradual steps to realize that serving Krishna is best. Just maximizing good.
Yeah.
Or maximizing trying to figure it out. I can't figure it out by just spinning my wheels. I've exhausted my ability to speculate on this. I realize I can't figure it out now. So now what do I do?
The point I would like to leave you with, good, is this: whatever we do, that actually is not for our personal advertisement, not for our interest, but for the interest of Krishna. We do this just for the interest of Krishna. This actually, attracts Krishna. But if there's any little interest, it's like punya. I'm doing it for, it's karma gyan. I'm doing it for some certain things. But that attachment have to be there. Detachment have to be there. Detachment have to be there, not for me, for Krishna. This is the point. And we need purification for us to be able to do this. And this purification comes first by having right consciousness, that's right intelligence. If the intelligence is not purified, we won't be able to make proper distinction. Whether we are doing some punya, or we are doing for Krishna, we are doing for ourselves. This distinction will not be clear. The intelligence have to be purified for us to know whether we are doing for ourselves or we are doing for Krishna. Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah, this verse I just asked you about, it's like the third sentence or something.
Okay.
Okay, it says, if one can't directly engage in Krishna consciousness or give his results to Krishna, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated results of his activities to some good cause. Then he says, such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. He can give to some hospitals, social institutions. So the fact that it is described in the Vedic rules may be that you're actually indirectly engaging in Krishna consciousness, even though it seems just like material goodness.
Yeah.
But it's described in the Vedas that one should do that. So you're actually indirectly following the Vedas.
Yeah.
And becoming purified.
Yeah. So we see Srila Prabhupada gave in the purport here that the indirect path, is not the best, but the direct path, which is Krishna consciousness, is the best. So the indirect path, there is still some element of contamination there. But the direct path is free from contamination. That is the path of bhakti, actually. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanande.